Can you imagine one person dealing with, I don't know, a caseload of, let's say on average, let's say just say 15. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and Happy New Year. Hope you are all doing well. If you haven't already, please do make sure that you subscribe to my channel, like, comment, share my videos, spread the word. As you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about my workplace stress, how I am when I'm feeling overwhelmed, when I'm feeling stressed, and hopefully this can just be a really helpful video for whoever's watching. So, one of the things that I've noticed when I'm feeling stressed or on the brink of burnout is I sometimes have a bit of a I need to escape mentality. And what I mean by that is I will literally just book a flight and go. I did it a couple of years ago when I was feeling so stressed. I think I've spoken about it on my channel before, but I was feeling so stressed that I booked a trip to Mexico for 2 weeks. And I remember when I was at the airport, I was physically sick at the thought of having to leave the country, leave work, having to, just switch off for 2 weeks and fly out. And that really made me realise just how stressed I was, and I think for a long time I was in denial about it because I didn't want to admit that I was stressed. I didn't want it to seem, I kind of saw stress as a bit of a weakness. I didn't want people to think that I wasn't competent, people to think that I couldn't do my job. So yeah, I literally worked myself to the point where my body was physically telling me that you're stressed, and that is a massive indicator for when you're feeling overwhelmed, feeling stressed, is your body. And that's why it's so key to listen to what your body is telling you. When you're feeling tired, you don't have any energy, your appetite might be gone, that is another indicator of when you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed. So what I would say is about making sure that you are looking after yourself, you're putting yourself first, you are prioritizing yourself. If you're no good to yourself, then how are you going to be good to anybody else? Sometimes as social workers we feel that we need to keep doing what we're doing, we need to stay in the job. We can't take time off, we can't go on leave, because who's going to pick up the work when we're not there? Who's going to do that? Who's going to work with that person who only has that relationship with you when you are not there? And it's important that we snap out of that mindset of I'm the only person who can support this child, I'm the only person who can support this family, I'm the only person who can support this adult. We need to start being more boundaried and also putting in safeguards for ourselves when we're forming relationships with people. And I know that's easier said than done, because if you have someone who's taken a while to trust you as a person and then you're away, you can feel that sense, you do feel that sense of guilt. I've been there, I felt that sense of guilt, but we need to start putting measures in place, such as taking a colleague with you for a couple of visits so that you're preparing that person for your eventual leave, or if you have to go sick unexpectedly, you have to go. You can't, there's no way that you're going to stay there for that one person. It's also about not creating a dependency, empowering them to do things for themselves, but also empowering them to rely on other people that are within their network, and not just you as an individual. So another thing that I've recognised is that sense of hopelessness and helplessness. Now, when I started to feel like that, it was actually, on reflection, it was actually quite a dangerous place to be in, because you start to think, you just don't see any hope, you don't see any light, you don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. You kind of just come in like a robot, do what you need to do, and then you go. But actually, where's your sense of direction? Where's your sense of, this is what I'm doing for the day, this is how I'm motivated, this is what I'm going to do with this family, this is what I'm going to do with this person, this is how I'm going to plan my week, this is how I'm going to plan my career. When you start having those feelings of helplessness and hopelessness, again, I would say in those kind of situations is about making sure that we are looking after our mental health, and also that we're talking about it. One of the things that I had to start doing when I was in that situation was to talk to people, talking to my managers if I didn't feel like I could talk to people close around me, talking to someone impartial that there wasn't that fear of being judged by them. So talking to managers, if not seeking things like therapy, doing some therapy if you're feeling that you're in that mode of hopelessness, helplessness. And I think it's also about having the courage to believe that doing something like therapy doesn't make you any less than, it doesn't remove your credibility, your competency, and it also doesn't lessen you as a human being to seek therapy and to, share your thoughts and feelings with someone, because we ask people to do that on a day-to-day basis. We ask people that we work with to trust us. We ask people to share how they're feeling, share their trauma, share everything with us, obviously within reason, but share everything with us. And if we're not able to do that as practitioners, then I think we're doing a disservice to the people that we're trying to support if we can't even practice what we preach. Another thing that I found, and oh my gosh, this is just the bane of my life, is headaches. I get really intense headaches. I get front headaches at the back of my head, and that is when I'm feeling really stressed, when I'm feeling a lot of pressure. And again, it relates back to what I was saying earlier about our body, and our body telling us that, look, you are working yourself too hard. When I start to get headaches, that's when I realise that. And also I think things like the computers doesn't help. We're sat at the computers all day, every day, writing things, and that doesn't help with our headaches as well. But I've also found that when I'm feeling really stressed or overwhelmed, I just tend to get really bad headaches. So yeah, that's another indicator for me that I need to take things slow, and I need to maybe take some time off, maybe just slow down my pace a bit, plan my days a bit more, so that I'm not trying to cram everything and anything into the 9 to 5 hours. Another thing that I have found is when I'm feeling stressed is if I have no joy outside of work, and that is probably quite a strange thing to say, because I should be having that joy when I'm not working. If I'm so stressed during the day, the night time and the weekend should be the time where I'm making my most joy. But if I'm at a place where even just finishing work, not being at work, doesn't bring me any kind of joy, then also I know that I'm feeling stressed, and that links in with feeling tired as well. If I'm sleeping on the weekend, sleeping as soon as I get home, or my sleep is disturbed, or I'm not getting any sleep, then that's another indicator for me that I'm feeling stressed, or that I'm feeling overwhelmed, or even just that I'm working too hard. It doesn't necessarily have to be that I'm stressed. It might just be that I'm putting in a lot of hours and putting in a lot of time into work, and I'm not balanced. I'm not having that work-life balance that I need to function, that I need as a normal human being. Another thing that I found is being forgetful and no organisation. Oh gosh, forgetfulness. I mean, I'm forgetful anyway, but if that's amplified times 10, then I know it's because I'm stressed. And if I have no organisation, again, I know that that's because I'm feeling stressed. If you're getting loads of pressure from everybody, from your manager, from your colleagues, from the people that you work with, from professionals, from all angles, just pressure, constant pressure, then that's another indicator that I'm stressed. And what I also want to speak on, no one willingly wants to be stressed. No one willingly says, do you know what, all this work is too much, I'm just gonna shut down, I don't want to eat, I don't want to sleep. No one says that. And I think sometimes the approach to feeling stressed is that, well, you need to manage your time better, or the language that's used when someone's feeling stressed isn't one that's empathetic, and isn't one that comes from a standpoint of, okay, what can we do to relieve this stress, or what can we do to, what is it that the organisation is doing, or what is it that that person's environment is doing that's causing them to feel like that. And of course we need to take accountability for our own work and our own practice, but equally as well, there should be some shared responsibility in the organisation that we're working in. And what is it that they're doing that might be contributing to that environment? Are they putting in unrealistic timescales? Are they putting in unrealistic pressures? Are they putting in pressures that just don't need to be there? The job is stressful enough as it is, without having someone on your back all the time asking you, where's this, where's that, why have we done this, why have you done that? And actually, if our body is the one that's telling us that this is how we're feeling, then I think people should take a different approach to that, and I think people should be a bit more sympathetic to that, rather than just seeing it as, well, this person is clearly not good for the job, or this person is clearly doesn't know how to manage their time, or this person clearly isn't fit for the role because that they're feeling stressed. This job is really hard, really, really hard. So another thing the last thing that I wanted to talk about was compassion fatigue. Now, compassion fatigue for me is when you are coming across a lot of trauma and you're internalizing a lot of trauma. Can you imagine one person dealing with, I don't know, a caseload of, let's say on average, let's say just say 15, a caseload of 15. Each of those people have their own stories, have their own trauma, have their own risk, have their own situations, have their own stresses. You are hearing that day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. You're dealing with them on their good days, you're dealing with them on their bad days. You're dealing with them when they're going through their crisis. You're dealing with them when you're having to have difficult conversations with them. You're dealing with them when something goes wrong. You're dealing with them when they make a mistake. You're dealing with them when you see their potential, but their actions might not be matching that, and you're having to deal with that. You're having to see that on a day-to-day basis. And for me, I feel that the lead up to all of that, along with all the other things that I've talked about, the pressures of the work, the pressures of management, the pressures of professionals, the pressures of just social work in general, to when it gets to a point where the emotion switch turns off. And I've been there where you're listening to something and you're emotionless. You're just not feeling it. You're not hearing it. You're just at a place where you think, I can't deal with this. I can't give you 100%. You're listening to people's problems. You're listening to people's trauma, and you're not processing it. You're not dealing with it. In some extreme, in some cases, you're not able to empathize with that person because it's like I said, that switch is off. And another thing that I found is that I can be really irritable, not just in my professional life, but my personal life as well, when I'm feeling stressed and when I'm feeling overwhelmed. And when I start to recognize that I'm getting irritable, I know what it is. I know why it is. I know it's because I'm stressed. I know it's because of work. I know that it's because work is a lot to deal with. And yeah, it's just not a nice place to be. It's not a nice feeling to have, and it's not a nice person to be around. And I feel like with it being the new year, and I just feel like as I've progressed in my role, I've become better at recognizing and reflecting on when I'm feeling stressed and putting in those safeguards to make sure that I don't get to a place where I'm overwhelmed. And one of the things that I tend to do is that I won't keep quiet about it. So I'll go into supervision and I'll basically tell my manager that I'm not happy. This is how I'm feeling. This is why I'm feeling like this, and something needs to change. Something needs to happen. Otherwise, me and this place, we can't align, because there's either something that you're doing that's contributing to this, or I need to take some time off. Time off is something that I would encourage everybody and anybody to do regularly. I was that social worker who would never take annual leave. It would get to the end of the annual leave year and I would have like 2-3 weeks left of leave left, because I just wouldn't take it throughout the year. I'd work day in, day out. I was never off sick, and I would just have like 2 weeks left at the end of the year. How ridiculous is that? You get like 20 something days to spread out across the whole year, and by the end of it I've still got 20 days. That makes no sense. So taking annual leave is definitely something that I would encourage people to do, and I think that the more that we shift our mindset from, oh, I can't take annual leave because X, Y and Z, the more that we will be putting ourselves first and prioritising ourselves. Another thing that I've been doing recently is journaling, so just writing things down, whether that's in notes, whether that's on a paper format, whether that's using a journal. I found that using the journal is so helpful for getting my thoughts out of my head. Another thing is doing things that interest me, and also being quite proactive and intentional about it. So whereas before I would just on the weekends, like I said earlier, sleep. Now I'm being a bit more intentional that, you know, this is my time. I'm not allocating my time so freely now to work and to, you know, things that aren't benefiting me. I need to be prioritising myself. So I'm going to do this on the weekend. I'm going to meet up with that person on the weekend. I'm going to create content. I'm going to, you know, talk to people that I don't normally talk to on the weekends. That sort of thing. And the key to all of that is holding yourself to account. It is so important that you are holding yourself to account, because if you don't, no one else will. And so it's about checking yourself when you find yourself slipping, or when you find yourself having those thoughts of, oh, I can't take annual leave, or I'll cancel my annual leave, or I'll move my annual leave. It's about checking yourself and thinking, hold on, no, why am I doing that? I think I've been talking long enough. I'd be interested to know, for anybody who's watching, what your indicators are for when you're feeling stressed. Leave them down below in the comments, or you can DM me directly and we can start that dialogue. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.